Well, I read the reviews and I thought, how bad can it be? They talk about not being able to get the release tool in to release these. Well, it's bad. If you put the release tool on here, it's right up to the flange. My thought was I could extend this or something like that. The only one of these that I found that wasn't like this, that had longer ends on it, was one that Harbor Freight sells. Harbor Freight sells two versions. The $300 one, this is about this long, so the whole tube stands up about here. But I didn't think spending $300 was what I wanted to do, but that is bad. The only kind of release you'll be able to release is the plastic style. If you have the metal style, you'll never be able to get the release tool in there once you get this clipped on. So my plan right now is to machine about half of this nut off and make these a little thinner right through here. And we're going to see how that works. Oh, and if you've ever thought about ordering these off of eBay, well, it's a crapshoot. Imagine getting a pair of shoes and having two left shoes. Beautifully lined up, but in the direction you use them, not so good. Oh well. I think those are threaded in. Holy cow. It's moving, but it moves a little bit and then stops. Getting better, getting better. Huh, they use some kind of a liquid thread sealer, kind of a Loctite sort of thing. Yeah, all right, well, at least I didn't snap it off. I'm gonna do the smallest one first because I don't really see where I'll be using that one a lot. So if I destroy it, I'll have plenty of time to replace it. Anyway, I'm gonna thread it into a fitting and chuck it in the lathe. The bore seems to be the same size going all the way through, so I'll be able to machine a little bit of this off. Now I have to say, this is probably not precision machining. That fitting's probably not perfectly centered and all that kind of stuff, but close enough for what we're doing here. Let's see, forward. Engage drive belt. Just nice and slow and easy, and we'll see what happens. Of the three sizes, this one is the worst because this wouldn't even quite go on there before. Now it'll actually go on there. Now if I take a little bit out of here, it'll give you enough play to drop it down. But the trick is going to be to have a little bit of a gap right there and then put this on before you put the fitting on, because once you put the fitting on, you won't have enough room to get the release back in there. As I said before, they'll work perfectly fine with this kind of fittings, just not the metal type that need the release tool. I put a 1/4-inch bolt in the hole to take up the play in the hole so I'd have something solid to lock against with the vise. I have a milling machine, but I don't want to set that up for this. And I'm taking what's actually a wood rasp here and just machining away a little of aluminum. And it's hard to get a good lock on this thing. I don't want to crush it. The real question is, will this take longer than setting up the vise in the milling machine would have. Seems to be going pretty fast. Precision machining. Might have taken out enough. That, I think, will work. Got to have just a little bit of a gap for the clips to actually lock in. It might work. Might need more, but I'll have to try it on one of these first. Got a nice little gap right there that this will set over, and I'll be able to get to this part. Let's see how this works. So we'll put a little thread tape on this, put it back together, and do it 2 more times. And then I get to try it out on a car, of course, but I don't think I'll put trying it out on a car in this video because I don't have anything that I need to check fuel pressure on. But this has to work a whole lot better than what it did before if you have the metal fuel line connectors. And if you got the metal fuel line connectors, you just have to remember this piece is going to have to go on first. Whether that's going to be enough gap for them, whether or not that'll be enough gap on this one for them to clip, I don't know. I'll have to wait until I get a chance to use it on something that's that small and maybe cut a little more off this end. I don't know. And I'm back. Cleaning off the threads, cleaning all the sealer out of them that they put on it so that they thread in a little bit easier. And I noticed on the end of this, there are some small burrs, which can't be good for the O-ring when it slides in and out. So I'm going to clean those burrs up a little bit with a tiny file. Just thought I'd throw that out there. All right, so on this one, it looks like I don't need to cut the bottom edge off down here on the tool, the release tool. I've cut the nut in half. I've got a little bit of a gap there, and I have this old fitting that's the size that this uses. Slip it on, it snaps in place, it stays on there. A little push and a little wiggle, it releases. That works on that fitting. But you have to have this tool on there because, as you see, when it locks on, there's no way to get the tool in there. The only way you'd be able to release one of these if it got locked on here is to put a piece of plastic around it and press that up in there. And I'll show you kind of how that works. I don't know if I can make it work because it's a real pain, but let me see if I can find a piece of plastic, show you that trick. It would be something like this. I'm not going to lock a fitting onto one of these, but you take a piece of plastic, slide it into either side, and that would pop the keys back and let it go. I'll show you how that works on this one right here. Because my plastic isn't thick enough to actually do it, I'm going to have to put a shim on it, which is kind of cheating, but this is how I used to take these off before I got a set of these. Got to make sure my spacer's in there all the way first. What you got to do is push these in and you'll feel them hit the springs. I don't know if you just saw that one slide in just a little bit. Get the other one to slide in. And once they push those springs out, this should come right off like that. All right, so that works. The release tool has to be on before you put the metal fitting on, otherwise you'll never get the tool on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the foam in the box so the release tool stays on the fitting all the time. That way I won't forget to put the release tool on if I'm using one of these fittings. I can always take it off if I'm using one of these style fittings. I think that's a great idea for an absent-minded guy like me. All right, well, I guess that wraps this one up. If you like this video, please be sure to leave a thumbs up. If you like the fact that I took the time to make this video, please leave a comment. Thank you very much. All right, like, subscribe, share, leave a comment, and as always, thanks for watching.